Hey there, Lilian Depiesse here, and in today's video, I want to talk about how to look at your data, how to understand your data, how to look at them, how to make them the right thing, because a lot of people don't understand how to look at your data, at their data, how to understand if the funnel they are launching, if the courses they are launching is working, basically, because they think it's working. Maybe it's working on low budget every day, but once they start to scale, it always falling. And why is that? Because they don't know how to look at their data. They look at their data the wrong way. And in today's video, I want to show you exactly how you should look at your data, and you will understand very at ease why it's so important. So I want to show you on my computer, basically. Okay, just to check if it's on the computer. So I want to show you all of this. So basically, there is a good chance that you are looking at this data, at your data this way. So you're probably looking at the rows or the MER, which is basically the rows, but on the whole business. And so, as you know, the rows is basically the AOV divided by CPA. So there is an issue with this, because the AOV is not something that you can change with your ad, your creative, right? Literally, someone from the same creative can buy for like $20 or $2,000, literally, and you cannot do anything from your creative to change this. Like you have no control on how much they will spend after. Like you know it, you know your AOV, but you cannot, like the ads cannot change anything about this, literally. And so you're basically looking at something which is the ROS, at the data who don't really tell you anything about how to scale. And also they don't tell you anything about the treasury of your business, about the profitability. All of this doesn't make any sense, okay? So that's why I'm giving you another alternative, which is the PSM. The PSM, which is called the profitable scaling margin, it's basically the difference between the maximum you can afford to pay to acquire a new customer and the net total cost that you are currently paying. Okay, so if you're paying, let's say, $50 to acquire a new customer, and how much can you actually spend to acquire a new customer, which could be, let's say, $150. Well, basically, you have a good PSM, okay? And how do you calculate this? With your LTV divided by your CPA. And if you are COGS, which is more in the e-commerce space, but you also add the COG on this. And is the good ratio is this. It's taking the LTV, because the LTV, you can change it, right? Because it's on your backend, it's on your email marketing ecosystem, it's on if the people who buy stuff in your business like them, do they like your stuff, all of this. And you have control on all of this, right? You have control. So it makes way more sense to look at your LTV than at the AOV, basically. Because also the LTV, it's the long term. If you only focus on the AOV, which is the first order, well, when you will scale, you will always run after being profitable. But maybe you are so profitable with your LTV. And if you focus on your LTV, you are actually focusing on the long-term business. And that's what we like, right? We like the long-term thinking. So basically, once you understand that your PSM is probably way more important than just looking at the ROS, you understand how to run the business. And you also need to understand what is the payback period. So I'll show you here with a little image what is actually the payback period. So when you acquire a customer, let's say you're acquiring the customer for like let's say $100, but they actually pay you, like the first order is like $50. So you're basically losing $50, right? Because you're paying like 100, and they pay you only 50. So you're losing those other 50, right? But the payback period is literally telling you in how much time you need to pay back this customer acquisition, literally. And here on this image is like 15 months. You see, this is how much they spend into your business, and 15 months later, they actually spend like the $100. So the other $50 they you spend on them, and basically now everything they spend afterwards, it's profit. Okay. And so first, this is LTV. This is the LTV, okay? And this is the most important thing after the PSM, because it's basically measuring how quickly you can expect to recoup the money invested in your marketing campaign. And that's when it comes to understanding the treasury of your business. It's basically, that's how you scale a business, and that's how you just manage a business, because you have to look at the right data, right? It's like Ross or Mayor doesn't tell you this. It doesn't take into consideration of the treasury and all of this stuff, right? And with the payback period, with the PSM and all of this, you are actually looking at the right data at the right time. So when you start to understand this, then you start to understand that you can look at your LTV, but not with like the time frame. So let's say your LTV here, you change it and you name it the 30-day LTV. So basically it's the LTV of your customer, but on the time frame of 30 days only. So maybe the customer journey is something like that. Day one they buy, and then they buy another stuff, and 25 they buy a third time. So they buy three times in the time frame of 30 days. So maybe you weren't profitable there on the first day, but maybe like on the 10th day they buy here, and then on the 25th day you are actually profitable, right? So if you can wait, if you are able to wait, if you have the treasury to wait for 30 days before being profitable, then you can scale way faster than the other competitors who are focusing on ROAS, because ROAS forces them to be profitable on the first order. And sure, at the beginning it's actually pretty simple to be, but once you scale very, very hard, then it starts to fade, because you will start to touch people who are less interested in your product, who doesn't feel the pain, who are unaware of everything, right? And that's the veritable issue. That's the only issue you have. So the more you can wait to be profitable, that's what I was saying, the more you can make money against your competitor. And so the idea is actually to focus on the PSM plus the payback period, plus your capacity of having a long payback period. Because still, let's say your competitors all understand this data. Okay, they all look at the PSM, they all look at the payback period. Then the one winnings will actually be the one with the longest payback period capacity. So how long they can wait. If you can wait 60 days when your competitor can only wait 30 days to be profitable, then you can win, because you can scale longer and harder and faster than your competitors. So in the end, the victory goes to the one who can outpay competitors to secure one customers. So basically is the one who can pay the most to get one customer, okay? And the last data, which is very, very important, is the EBITDA, which is basically the earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. It's basically how much money you make when you pay everything, like the marketing, the people, the hire, the staff, the delegate, like just everything. How much money you actually make. And a lot of people are not looking at this data because, well, I don't know why, but just basic business. Like you need to know your EBITDA. You need to work on it. You need to have good EBITDA. It's a sign of a healthy business, especially in the online education business, when you can have very high margin. If you don't have a good EBITDA, well, you're doing something wrong, because you don't need to hire a lot of people. You can scale very, very fast and very hard. Well, your EBITDA should be very, very high also. And if you don't, it's probably that you're making something which is not good, something wrong in this, because literally with like 5 to 7 people you can scale to like 5 to 7 millions per year on only one education business. So yeah, look at the EBITDA, try to focus on it also, and EBITDA will be actually working well if you look at the PSM, if you look at the payback period and all of this. And then I want to give you basically what I track in a funnel. So basically I track all of this: the profit, the CPC, the number of leads, the spend, the turnover, the clicks, the total conversion, and the CPA. And then I do more of this, but I do this. The most important one is the ratio between the profit and the spend. You want to have something like this on the graphs. Very, very important. But you also need to make the choice. At which point do you want to be profitable? And you can know this by looking at your PSM and your payback period. Okay. And well, the last thing I want you to understand now, it's that you're probably doing something very, very wrong when you look at your data. Because, well, for example, I'll give you an example. One of my consulting clients, a couple of days ago, he comes to me and he was like, hey, so I have this issue on my funnel. Okay, so he has a funnel with like a courses, and he's telling me this. He has an issue with the funnel, blah blah. I don't understand, but the conversion rate is going down. And I'm like, okay, the conversion rate, I'm gonna call it the CVR. The CVR is going down. Okay, why? Well, I don't know. I made some changes on the offer, blah blah. I'm like, okay. And so what happened? And he's like, yeah. So basically, we almost doubled the AOV. So blah blah. It's cool, blah blah. But yeah, the CVR is going down. It's very bad, blah blah. I need to like work on it. What should I do? And I'm like, why are you complaining? Because literally you changed the offer to make it very specific and very different from what it was before, and you're making more money with this. So why are you complaining about the CVR, which we actually, at the end of the day, we don't care about it. What we care about is the money, right? And you almost double the money you're making right now, but okay, the CVR got down. And also take in mind that you are scaling, and when you scale, you're touching people who are less aware of what you're selling, who are less aware of their pain, all of that stuff, right? So of course the CVR is gonna go down. It's like intrinsic. It's just normal of the scaling part of a business. You have to pay more to acquire a customer every time you're scaling. It's just normal. And you see with this example, is he was too focused on just working on data instead of just making more money. And I know it can be a little weird because, yeah, the money comes from data. But to me, the money comes from impact, like how much impact you can have on people. And then, yeah, sure, data is very important. But you need to look at very few numbers of data who are actually the most important one, okay? And CVR is for example, it's very important, but it's also not important at all. AOV is very important, but it's also not important at all. And all of that is very important, but not important at all. The most important one are the one I told you, which are PCM, payback period, EBITDA, basically, okay? And then you can track all the other data, but just keep in mind that you don't want to take yourself too much into data, into segmentation, into all that stuff, and you want to take yourself into money. How much money goes into the bank at the end of the day, okay? So yeah, that was it for the data part of the business. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, just tell them in the comments. If you want me to help you on creating and launching and scaling your first online courses, education business, you can watch the free training video I've put in the bio. Very long and interesting training, which is free, and it will explain you everything on how you can launch, create, and scale your first and online education business. So that's it for this video. I hope to see you soon, another time. Ciao.